Alrighty, g'day mates and ahoy mateys for another Salty Paris YouTube video. Today we're going to be doing something based on a little trend I saw on Twitter a couple of weeks back that I think already fizzled up, where people were doing tier lists for how much they've enjoyed their mains in different fighting games they've played. And I thought that'd be a fun little thing for me to do because I've been playing fighting games for a bit over somewhat near 17 years now at this point. Brawl was my first fighting game back in 2008. And I thought, it'd be interesting to talk about, the historical context that went into me picking each character and how I've grown as a player and how I've known now what I'm looking for in a character and stuff like that. Because I was really, really bad for a really, really long time. And then I sort of ended up getting pretty good. So I want to talk about that and, let you know that just because you feel like you're terrible right now and you've gone 0-2 at every local for the last 2 years, there's still hope. It's not about like, oh, you pick up a stick and you're meant to be amazing from the get-go. It's not like that. You got a lot to learn. I'm wearing my Beast Mortal shirt right now. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW. He's a big Minotaur man. Not just bringing this up just because he's cool, even though he is really cool, but because I've been a big fan of wrestling ever since I was a kid. My uncle was an American, married my aunt, who I'm blood related to. And he was a big wrestling fan, so he was showing me WCW when I was a kid, and also some all the WWF stuff. And I remember watching him showing me Hogan vs. Andre. This is one of the few matches I can actually remember because I was like 6 or 7 or whatever. Hard to form memories at that time. But I do remember Hogan vs. Andre because I remember asking him. I was very young, but I was old enough to know that A, wrestling was fake, because everyone had really hammered that into me. Like, don't go trying to do the stuff, it's not real. And also that you could use movie magic to make stuff look different than how it actually was, right? So I remember looking at Hogan vs. Andre and asking, how did they make Andre look that big? And he looked at me confused and said, no, he really is that big. And I think that was a very important, formative moment in my life, and you'll probably see that in a lot of my character choices. That Andre really could just be that big. So let's take a look at what I've made here in Tier List Maker. Decided to go a bit poetic with my tier labels because I felt like just like loves, likes, meh, whatever would be a bit boring. So I decided to use lyrics from Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf. So at the top here we've got I Swear I Would Love You to the End of Time, which is like, characters that I really just want to play all the time. The characters that are like waking up and thinking like, damn, I want to play that game more. And ain't no doubt about it, we were doubly blessed. Just, a bit under that. Characters that, when I think of them, I'm like, oh, yeah, I should play that game more kind of stuff. Like, oh, I should try and get someone to play that game with me. And then, well, like the Metal on the Edge of a Knife is a character that I like, but I'm not jumping at the bit to, play the game. I'm just like, if the opportunity arises, like, oh, yeah, that character was cool. I like that. And then, Baby Baby Let Me Sleep on It. This is a bit like ambivalent. It's like a character that I like, but didn't like the game they're in, or like a game that I liked, but I probably chose the wrong character, that sort of thing. It was long ago and it was far away. It was like, at this point we're really starting to get into the dislike. Like, I really probably shouldn't have done that. And then praying for the end of time so I can end my time with you is just like, absolute worst choice. Completely incompatible with me as a person. What was I thinking? Could be the character or the game. Because we're starting off with Oliver. So I started fighting games with Super Smash Bros. Brawl in 2008, like I mentioned. And being my first fighting game, I really didn't know what I was after at all, as a character or as a person, so I was trying a lot of stuff. And something that a lot of people do when they're new to fighting games is they lose a lot, and then they think, oh, even if I'm not good, maybe people will respect me if I'm not good on a bad character. Which is wrong. It doesn't work at all. You have to be good on a bad character for anyone to care about you, even if you like, oh, that's the guy that goes 2-2 at locals or the bottom tier, like, no one gives a shit, You'll get mentioned offhand in passing, and I was barely even doing that, so I wanted to play Captain Falcon at first, because, he's really cool, he's like the Sentai warrior, and everyone loves the F-Zero anime, and I actually watched the F-Zero anime at the time. I hadn't just watched the YouTube highlight clips. But, he was terrible. I thought I'd be the person to make it work, I was not. So I ended up relenting and going up the tier list a bit, playing Ike and Luigi, and I still wasn't very good at them, so I ended up sliding back down the tier list, back to Falcon a bit, and then whoop, whoop, whoop. Eventually I did end up picking Meta Knight, which, if you don't know anything about Brawl, he's far and away the best character in the game. If you pick anyone other than Meta Knight or Ice Climbers, you're making a mistake. Or Diddy, I'll let you get away with. it's a terribly imbalanced game. It's terribly slow. You can randomly trip when you're running. It's an awfully thought out game. But I still wasn't clicking with Meta Knight, and a lot of that was because I wasn't very good. But also, a friend ended up suggesting, oh, why don't you try Olimar? And I did try Olimar, and I really liked him. And Olimar, in like a vacuum, I think does sort of fit me. You know, he's got a really strong grab because he like sends out the Pikmin to go grab people. So he's got like a long grab range, like disjointed sort of grab range, like the guy next to him. And if you grab someone with a blue Pikmin, he can actually kill with the back throw as well. It's pretty cool. And he like throws the Pikmin for his smash attacks. So he's got like a little bit of like a sort of a zoning-ish game going on. And he was pretty good as well. He was very high tier at the time, which means still like 4 tiers below Meta Knight. But Brawl is just such an awful game that even though I kind of enjoyed Olimar at the time. It's like I've still got to put him in this bottom tier just because of how much Brawl just upsets me as a game. Sorry to anyone who might be watching this who enjoys Brawl, but you're wrong. So a bit later, I ended up picking up Street Fighter 4. This is my first traditional fighting game. I pushed really hard for like a couple of my friends in the Brawl community to play it with me, and some of them did, and some of them didn't. And the ones that did, I'm still very close friends with today. So Brawl, even though I hated it, was very, very important in my life. Yeah, shoutouts to Homobloke and Blade, who's still playing fighting games with me today. Blade a bit less, now that he's a Pokemon pro. But nevertheless, we all went over to Street Fighter 4. Me and Homobloke both played Zangief, actually. I was on the fence about playing Sagat or Zangief at first. But I played on keyboard at first, right? And at the time, keyboard was seen as like a no-go. Bad decision, don't play on keyboard. But like, woohoo, wacky playing on keyboard. And now I really wish I'd kept playing on keyboard. So I could do all these fun hitbox tricks. But I didn't. So when I got my first stick, and I could now 360, because that was really difficult for me on keyboard. I couldn't 360 at all, because I didn't know, like, oh, put up on space or anything. I was playing on arrow keys, and doing a 360 on that was just beyond me. So when I got my stick, I was like, oh, I'll try Zangief, you know, because I haven't been able to properly play him. And so I sort of just ended up on Zangief because of that. Maybe not a real good reason, but that was what I did. I think if I ended up on Sagat, I could have been a very different fighting game player, but I picked Zangief. And Zangief was really cool. Like, his ASPD being so ridiculous, it's 2 frame startup and massive. Sort of warped my expectations of what a grappler should be like in a fighting game for a very long time. And EX Green Hand being like a horizontal DP, because he steps forward and it's invincible on startup, was also a very big crutch for me. So like, I could destroy players who were on the same level as me, right? Anyone else who was bad to mid, I could roll over, because they didn't know how to play against Zangief. They would just fall apart and die in the face of my bad Zangief. But anyone who did know how to play the game would just dismantle my Zangief. So I was sort of stuck in this void where I thought I was better than people I wasn't really better than, because I was like, well, I beat them, so I must be better than them, right? But if I swapped off Zangief, no matter how much time I put into learning, because I was just learning incorrectly, I didn't really get any better, right? So Zangief at the time was definitely a wrong choice for me to play, unfortunately. I think now as well, Zangief's a tricky one, because like if you counter pick him in Street Fighter 4, like he's real suffering, you know? But let's go, I think probably here. Because it's a tricky one, I think, but I probably shouldn't have played him at the time, but I could probably play him now, but I've moved on to other sort of characters, I think. I don't really go for the hard, all-in grappler designs anymore. But the next fighting game I played was Vanilla Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I'd messed around with a couple of older games in the meantime, like Melty Blood Actress again and Marvel 2, but I didn't really play any of them seriously. I was just sort of doing that thing that new players do where they're like, oh, fighting games used to be better, and whilst not knowing anything about what I was doing, right? So my Vanilla Marvel 3 team was Spidey, Tron, Wesker. Tron, I played in Ultimate as well, so I'm gonna mostly tier her for the Ultimate, because Vanilla Tron had an assist that was invincible in startup, and it was disgustingly broken. So I didn't really play her that much in Vanilla. You know, I just sort of mashed the assist button. So we'll just ignore her for the moment. But Spidey, So Spidey has really small buttons and really cool movement, right? And over time, I've come to learn that I don't really like that. I really hate small buttons, even if they're compensated with good movement. Where it's like, oh well, it's pretty easy for you to get into the range where the buttons work. It's like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to just be able to press a big button in the first place, you know. Particularly because Spidey's crouch medium is just like such a weird little I can't even get my leg up to do it, but you know, he like sticks his leg up and it's tiny horizontally. And like in a Street Fighter game, it'd be a good anti sort of button, right? But it's like, well, we're not playing that. So in vanilla, it kind of worked out for me a little bit because he had a bug where web throw was always unscaled, so it was always 150k. You might have heard the Spencer 80k memes when you're watching Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3 footage, because Spencer's up grapple is always unscaled, so that's always 80k. So it's the same bug. They fixed it for Spidey, but not for Spencer. But yeah, he was just 100% the wrong choice. I should never be playing someone with small buttons. So Wesker didn't change a ton between versions, really. He got a little bit of a nerf, but then he got sort of a compensation buff where he can take his glasses off during his super. So Wesker's very straightforward. He's got big buttons. He's got a cool command grab. It's really small, but it's very fast. So I do like him. But he's just very like blunt and straightforward in a game where everyone else is doing sort of cool shit. But he's not so overpowering with his straightforward stuff. You know, like his crouch medium is a really big button. His crouch medium is a very cool button. But yeah, I think probably like. Maybe here. I think here. So we'll skip ahead a little bit. So in BlazBlue Continuum Shift, I didn't play Calamity Trigger. I think that's what the names. I played Lambda because I thought the pew 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 was cool. And Lambda is pretty cool. So this is why I have to be very clear about the game I played, because the Lambda I played no longer exists, right? In CP, they got rid of Lambda and brought back New, but made a New who had like stances where you could play as the vanilla New or BBCS Lambda with like how they work differently, and you could swap between the stances, and the stance cancel special was like a useful combo tool. And then everyone complained about that, and so they got rid of that and then brought back New and Lambda as separate characters, and now Lambda is an entirely new character, and New sort of plays closer to old Lambda, but not really that close. So it was sort of suffering being a Lambda picker, because like I couldn't coast buy on stuff well, in BlazBlue you can't really coast buy at all, but like Lambda in particular was like, well, this is just a new character every fucking time the game updates, right? But CS Lambda I did enjoy. Again, probably the wrong choice for me. I thought she was kind of cool. I like how she gets like, she's sort of a very scramble pickup focus character where like you'll hit with a stray sword, and your ability to convert off that stray sword into, not like a big damage combo, but you know, some damage and then a knockdown. That's like a big important tool of her I found at the time. But going back, I probably wouldn't pick her again in CS. Current New in CF, I might pick again, but probably not this one. I wouldn't play New in current one, so I don't think I'd play Lambda in the old one. Yeah, probably play half a minute or something. So Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3 was next, and so this is my Ultimate team. I swapped around a lot. I played Phoenix teams, I played silly Doom teams, I played a lot of stuff, but this is what I ended up settling on. So the idea with this team is that you can level up Frank West really efficiently by, it's like, you shoot Lunch Rush, you DHC to Devil Trigger, and Lunch Rush continues even if Tron leaves. So you DHC to Devil Trigger, hard tag Frank in, and now you can take photos while the surplus are hitting them. Let me see if I can get my video of it. One of the few combos I've actually uploaded from my channel. So I've optimized this further since I uploaded this, but... So like, this is a cool combo. I thought. So you get a little extension with Rapid Slash. Yeah, the drill is so annoying because the last hit doesn't actually combo into super. Only all the hits before the last one. So Devil Trigger, hard tag out, and then you get a little extension here. You get Frank to level 5, which is unnecessary but cool. And you do, what is it, like 940 in the process? 950. So like that, you get to kill most characters in the game with that, and you get Frank to fly. So that was really cool. The only problem is, Rapid Slash is like a negative assist for Tron outside of a combo, and Frank can't is just not enough for someone as big as Tron to really navigate neutral. Like, basically, I sort of came up with the concept of like, oh, I want to play Frank. Tron levels Frank well. I also like Virgil. Virgil works for the combo. Let's play this team. His team does not really function, right? You're really, really all in on getting that first hit with Tron. Virgil Frank is like, it's fine as a team, but the fact that you've picked that and then forced yourself to do a Virgil take an incoming mix-up, or have level 1 Frank take an incoming mix-up, because either order actually works. Like, it's really, Marvel 3 is not the sort of game where you can just pick your 3 favorite characters, unfortunately. I've been tossing up playing some Tron teams lately, but very much not that one. I played that one a little bit, and it still feels incohesive, right? Like, if I wanted to play Tron Frank, I think Tron Dante Frank is the optimal team, right? Or if I wanted to play Virgil and Frank, Virgil Dante Frank. You know, there's orders to make these 3 characters work in some combination, but not that one. Because Tron is very big, and Marvel 3 has a lot of strong zoning in it. So, yeah, I'm considering playing Tron again at the moment, but it'll be Tron Doom Virgil. 100%, I think. Or Tron Schumer Virgil. Some not Frank, basically. So, Tron, I think, ends up like here. Specifically, this team would be probably here, I think. Virgil, though. Virgil, I love so much. He's so fun. Part of why, like, Virgil you get to see on every team is because A, he's busted, but B, because he's so fucking fun. Like, he's not just an anchor win condition, right? Like, when you pick Phoenix on your team, you get the same sort of, well, I get to my anchor. If my anchor is intact, then I win the game, you know? He sort of does that as well. But when he gets snapped in, he can still play the game, assuming that, like, most of the time you've got Doom, right? And your point character will probably have some sort of assist that you could use to release a combo, right? So like you can go around, you can do round trip stuff in neutral, he just throws out a big boomerang projectile which keeps the opponent and blocks them for ages. And it always follows you, so it goes past them and then you teleport back on the other side and the projectile comes back. That's so fun! He does such absurd amounts of shit if you're playing him really well. The trick is you gotta like hold down buttons because the round trip is a hold button move. But this was where I sort of realized I like those like hold down button to get a really strong move characters. Like, that's really cool. I don't like characters where you gotta like flick between them, like Street Fighter 4 Jury, you know, where each button is a different thing, but just like hold down a button and get a big thing, like that's really fun. Virgil, absolutely here. Almost definitely one of my favorite characters ever. I've got 2 Virgil figures in my living room, like dolls with like proper like tailored jackets and like a real die-cast metal katana for Yamato. One of my sticks, I got a professional artist for like $250 to do Virgil in a onsen, like an open air onsen in the style of Bathtub Geralt, so he's like leaning back and like that. He's fantastic. Frank though, Frank's unfortunate because conceptually I really like Frank. Like, oh, you gotta level them up and then you get ridiculous normals that chip on block. I love chip damage. I don't like having to open my opponent up. I just want to make them suffer for blocking. He gets a really cool roll, he gets a really strong invincible super, but in modern days, I hate the team building constraints that he forces on you, you know? Like, Marvel 3 is very much a game where you have to build for synergy, but Frank in particular is like, you have to build for synergy or you've lost the game at character select, right? People back then would build teams where you had to TAC to level Frank, because you could TAC Frank in and then just go pop with his plunger a couple times and get him to 4. Those all fell off, because when you pick a team where you've got to land a hit and then you still only get a 66% chance, if we were to go one-on-one, of leveling Frank, like, it's just not worth it. Because level 1 Frank is abysmal. So I think Frank has to go like here or here. Like, if I liked playing Dante in MVC3, he could be up here. Because Dante is far and away one of his best partners. And then if I liked Dante, then it would open up so many teams for him. But I hate playing Marvel 3 Dante. So I think probably here, unfortunately, is correct. Yeah. Feels rough to put him there, but... so King of Fighters 13 is next. I played a lot of different teams in that, where I was jumping around a bit. I ended up mostly on Psyche, Clark, and Ash. So Psyche is well, King of Fighters 13 in general is a really hard game, right? Psyche is sort of like a cool, like somewhat zoning character. He's got a really strong fireball, but he only has one speed of it. So like if you see the fireball, you always know when you can jump. He's got an anti-air version of it as well for like hard reads, but then like if your opponent just runs at you or rolls at you, it's like, well, I look stupid now. But he does have a good DP for anti-airs and cool combos, but like it's probably the wrong choice. But not, I don't regret it a ton. King of Fighters 13 Clark, I did enjoy a lot. I played really incorrectly because King of Fighters 13 had really hard combos and I had really bad tech skill, and so I was very over-reliant on the command grab, and once anyone realized that I would go to the command grab more than I would go to the strike option, or that if they took the strike then they wouldn't take very much damage, it all sort of fell apart. But I think going back now with my improved tech skill, I need to be more up here. But Ash. So Ash really represents the strictest divide between picking a character for aesthetic and picking a character for gameplay for me. Because, like, Ash being like, you know, teasy, bratty femboy, like, he's fun, you know, that's cool, it's cute. But, God, character with middling zoning that does really, really fucking long, difficult combo is the complete fucking antithesis of what I want in a fighting game character. I picked him again in King of Fighters 15. I'm not doing him twice because he'll have the same spot both ways. But nothing made me as angry as flicking this character in, like, playing this character in tournament. Like, you would just drop a combo and it's like, well, now the whole thing was fucking pointless because I built them fucking 3 bars from doing this ridiculously long combo. So now I've given them the tools to kill me if they didn't have them before. And even if you kill them, like, if you weren't in the anchor 1v1, you've still given them the 3 bars to kill you. And it's just, it's not at all what I want in a character. But I keep making the mistake of picking characters for aesthetic when I don't mesh with the gameplay. And I think that's probably my biggest advice to someone, is that, like, yes, you should pick the character you want to play, right? Unless they're completely terrible. But do remember that you are playing the moveset, not the aesthetic, you know? It's important to pick a character you like the look of, but it's important to remember that you'll spend a lot more time playing the character than you will looking at the character. So Ash is here, 100%. Biggest regret of my fighting game career is picking that character twice. What the hell was I thinking? So next up, you might be thinking, that looks like Big Show, and you'd be right, that is Big Show from WWE All-Stars, which was a WWE attempt to make like a competitive fighting game. It was very close to being like a serious fighting game. There were a couple of things that I had issue with, like that it didn't have a round timer, and also they didn't have countouts. So rolling out of the ring was invincible in startup, but then rolling back in the ring was risky. And so you'd get stalls where like there's no timer, there's no countout, so people are just like dancing around the ring a bit, waiting for the right opportunity to get back in. There was no real pressure on them to just, you know, it's like, oh, well, I've got to get back in, this might not be the right time. So when we ran money matches for it here, because we did have, for whatever reason, a dedicated scene for it. I didn't have mirror matches either. I don't know why I didn't have mirror matches, because other WWE games did have mirror matches. And other WWE games had countouts, you know? Or maybe like Hell in a Cell as a match mode, so you couldn't roll out. That could have been good. Anyway, this isn't a list of how I would fix WWE All-Stars. This is a list of characters I enjoyed. So Big Show could stomp around the ring. He would like jump. Remember, this was an attempt at making a serious fighting game, so we had like sort of juggle mechanics and not things you would see in a wrestling match. You wouldn't see the Big Show just jump anywhere like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But if he hit them with a stomp, they would get launched, and then he could just pump and then kick them out of the ring. Almost everyone in the game could charge their strong attack, strong strike, and the charged strong strike was unblockable. But Big Show, and I think Andre as well, could charge the strike and then store it. He'd go like, oh, and look at his fist a bit. And now his fist is glowing yellow. And so now I can just go, and that's unblockable. And that wall bounces. And then I can kick them out of the ring. And then I go, ooh, while they're getting back in the ring. So it was really silly. I mainly played him because it was funny. I wasn't like a massive Big Show fan. I respect him now in hindsight, but at the time wasn't a huge fan. But yeah, it was just a funny character, I think. So I'd probably put him, I guess probably here. It's super like him. I probably wouldn't play him if WWE still got a serious revision that had countouts and mirror matches and stuff like that. But I don't regret playing him, I guess. So next was Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Street Fighter Cross Tekken was when I started to really put time into being good at fighting games. I started to realize holes in my gameplay, like my anti-airs were bad and stuff like that. My links were inconsistent, and I started to drill down on how to fix them. So the characters I played were Hugo and Poison, which was a canon team. So I got a special intro when I picked them. And this was really a case of the right characters for the wrong game. So Street Fighter Cross Tekken was very like combo and interesting pressure heavy game, right? Because you could spend a bar to tag to your other character mid-move, and you'd keep going, right, while they tag that. And it's like sort of the first example of like MBCI active tag, but in a grounded Street Fighter game, right? And so Hugo did really big damage. And if you were looking at the game as from the perspective of someone who's only played Street Fighter 4, you would think, why is the grappler allowed really big damage, right? Because he's got a really good command grab. But the issue is he didn't have a really good command grab, right? He had a fine command grab, but he had exclusively really slow normals in a game where, like, everyone had really good pressure, right? It made it really difficult for him to do anything defensively. Because everyone was treating him at first, on launch, we all thought he was broken, because people were playing like he had that Street Fighter 4 2-frame command grab, but he didn't. It was like 6 frames or something. It was a good command grab in the context of a game where he didn't have such trouble poking out. Then in Street Fighter 4, they gave him a 2-frame command grab and everything was fine. But in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, it was just him. It was so annoying to play him. And everyone would be called, oh, you're playing that broken Hugo, because he does shit tons of damage. But, like, why are you getting hit? You know? Particularly in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, you couldn't special cancel Magic Series, right? So you could do light punch, medium punch, heavy kick, right? But if once you've done that, you've committed, you've got worse frame data on block, and you can't special cancel it. So it was like, he couldn't really get big damage off a light punch. He could get a sweep and a knockdown, but he wasn't getting huge damage. If he hit a raw crouch medium punch and a clap, he was getting big damage. But, like, he had to essentially just win neutral to get that, right? Like, you weren't getting that in other situations. So I'd have to put him, like, here. I shouldn't have played him at all. He was fun at launch, and he seemed broken, and that's why I stuck with him, but I should have dropped him. So then Street Fighter Cross Tekken Poison was functional, but she was really honest. She's essentially the same as the Street Fighter 4 version. So she doesn't have any good, like, multi-hit moves to tag cancel or anything like that. She's just playing like a fair, just Shoto game, you know? And she didn't have anything particularly silly, like Ryu could special cancel his sweep, and then everyone had one move they could charge. Poison's was a fireball. Ryu's was also his fireball. So he could cancel the sweep in the fireball and like backdash cancel it, or whatever. And then Poison was just very fair. So like I, again, probably should have played someone else. It's funny, all the teams I was messing around with were probably better. Like I messed around a bit with like Brian, and I don't know why I didn't stick with him. I messed around a lot with Jin, I don't know why I didn't stick with him. But Jin Brian would have been a significantly better team than what I played, but it was like, oh, this is my secondary team, so fuck knows what I was thinking. I mostly played vanilla as well, so you'd had things like Valento just doing like with his pole, and that's plus on block in 4 frames, which is just faster than Hugo's fastest button, so it's like he's just walking at me and it's like, well, I've got to take a massive risk to get out of this. Yeah, unfortunate choices I made, basically. So next is Arcana Heart 3 Kira Daidoji. So I really need you to not judge me based on how the characters in this game look, because it is really fun. Basically, the game is like a universal homing dash. Sort of like Dragon Ball Super Dash, right? But you've got multiple versions you can pick from it, so you can do like a back homing dash. So your character like zoops back of it and then does the homing dash, right? And you can guard cancel on a homing dash, so like you can guard cancel into the backwards one and then zoop forward. You can guard cancel into the forward one. Then that's got a bit of a risk on it. And the way the super meter works as well is really interesting. You've got like, you start with 1 bar, and when you spend it, that bar starts recovering. But you're not building any extra bar. So you always recharge the maximum amount of bar you built. So you can build up to 3 bars, and then you spend the bar, and you've still got 2, and that top one's still recovering. So it's like, oh, well, do I want to spend bar right away and like hamper my ability to build this max bar up for the next few rounds? It's a really cool game. And Kira is the Zangief, the all-in grappler equivalent. But because it has that universal homing dash, she doesn't feel very all-in for a grappler, right? Like, she's huge. She's in a big like blob of jelly, and it does like the Hugo clap, and it does like backbreakers and all this sick wrestling stuff, and it's jacked. I don't know why her blob is jacked, but it is, and that's sick. And so she's just super fun, and there's really no other character I played since then that's like her at all. And it's unfortunate then that Arcana Heart 3 has had such terrible like luck with ports since then. I played a lot of vanilla Arcana Heart 3, and it's been very difficult to get people to play since because A, how the character designs look, but also B, the weirdness with like the change to 16:9 and like deciding on what's the right version to play. But I'd still have to put her up here. Doesn't make it up into this top tier, but I really love her, and every time I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I should try and get people to play Arcana Heart 3 a bit. Next was Mortal Kombat X. So Mortal Kombat X is my first foray really into serious Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat 9 was banned in Australia. We didn't have an R18 rating at the time when Mortal Kombat 9 came out. We did by the time the complete edition with like all the DLC came out, but by then it was like impossible to get anyone to play. So MKX was like the first time really we could play. The issue was I didn't have a current gen console, so I got the PC release of MKX because I didn't know any better. So if you know anything about NRS games now, you'll know that across the board they have the absolute worst PC ports you've ever seen in your life. MKX was even worse than that. So I fumbled around a lot with characters. I played on release. I played a lot of Goro. I played a lot of Jax. There was someone else I played a lot of, I can't remember. When the DLC started dropping, I played a lot of Jason, and then as a big, you can even see back here my Predator. As a master Alien vs Predator fan, I had to play the Predator. But the Predator was really, really hard. MKX had a mechanic called run cancels, where any move that you could charge, sort of like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, you could cancel into a dash, and then you could cancel your dash into a run, and then immediately cancel the run into a normal. You had like a stamina bar that you spent on running. So it was a cool little way to give you like an extra resource to spend on pressure. And the Predator was also a very strong zone using this, because the charge move was the plasma cannon. So you could go into the plasma cannon stance and then either shoot it forward, shoot it down, shoot it up, or dash cancel forward. And that was really strong, but it was really painful on my fingers. So I ended up going back to Goro. You can see as well, I got Shiva up here actually. I'm a massive fan of the Shokan. I love the Shokan design. They're just fucking huge jacked dudes with 4 arms. Unfortunately, I've never got to play Shiva a lot, because MK9, like I said, we didn't really play here, and also she was terrible. And MK11, I'd sort of stopped playing a lot by the time she came out. I did play a bunch of single-player content with her, because MK has a lot of that to go through, but I never really played her in Tournament in 11. So Goro, unfortunately, is my one foray in tournament play with Shokan. But I haven't really talked about what he does. So Goro is just plus frames galore. He's got a lot of strings that are plus on block, and he's got a lot of armored moves as well, that are all mostly safe. Well, one of them is safe, one of them is a command grab. The main one is Punch Walk, where he just walks forward and punches with all 4 arms, and the EX version of that is armored. And then you can spend another bar for it to launch to do a combo. So if you've got 2 bars, you've got an armored combo starter, but you can hit confirm it. Because if you EX it at the start, that's just the armor. You then EX it again during the move to launch. And it's safe. So then it's like, at the end, it's like they can try and bait you doing an EX command grab if you get another bar. Or you can just press buttons again if you think they're gonna try and bait you doing that. And he's got big damage, and he's got an okay projectile that does a lot of damage if you manage to hit with it. He's just really cool. He's like when I really started to conceptualize it, like I want to play a bully. I want to make someone block, and I want to make them keep blocking. Oh, and of course I played the Xenomorph as well. The Xenomorph being completely busted when it came out, and then got really hard nerfed, and so I assumed it was dead and went back to Goro. In the end, it turned out the Xenomorph is still fine, just not the variation I was playing, the Tarkatan one. Because the Xenomorph in MKX absorbed the Tarkatan like Baraka, so it's got Arm Blade Wreckers. And Wreckers are really unusual in MK, so I thought that was cool. But Goro, I think, goes here. MKX is a really fun game, and Goro is a really fun character. So Terumi in BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma, BBCP. It's hard remembering the subtitles for all the BB games, but I played Terumi in BBCP because I couldn't afford the game. And learning combos in BlazBlue was really hard, particularly because they just changed my character, Lambda, from just herself into the stance character. And I was like, well, I can't learn these combos without owning a copy of the game. And my friend Robin said to me, you should play Terumi, because they said in an interview they designed Terumi as a character for women who like hot emo dudes but don't play fighting games. And I was like, wow, I like hot emo dudes and arguably don't play fighting games right now, and there we go. So, Terumi is an interesting position here, because I would 100% never play Terumi again. But in the spot where I couldn't afford the game and wanted to play, he was the only choice. So he's going to be here right now, but back then he had to be like here, because he was so easy. It was fantastic. In the end, I ended up getting a copy of the game and playing new and learning the stance combos, and those were fun. But I'd probably still put it in the same spot as Lambda, so I didn't feel like I needed another spot for new. After that, we started getting into Guilty Gear Accent Core in Perth. We mostly played Accent Core, actually. We didn't really touch that much of Plus R. And I played Bridget, and this is another case of me picking for aesthetics and not for gameplay, because a silly character that rolls around and has fun movement and cool like set play is not me. I want to be the bully, as we've just like look at this. You know, this is all plus frames. This is all chip damage. This is not funny movement. Some of these can barely move at all. You know, it was the wrong choice, but I picked for aesthetic. I don't even know who I'd play in Accent Core, because a lot of my issue with Guilty Gear is like weight classes and stuff. So I think maybe I just don't like Accent Core at all. And FRCs are annoying. Maybe I'd play Holy Order Soul, maybe? Or just normal Soul? Maybe Potemkin? I don't know. It's not a game I'm jumping at the bit to play, even with a different character. So, Bridget, down here. Don't like fast characters. Don't like low damage. I want slow characters that hit you once and die. I know that saying that with Hugo right here is contradictory, but it's because Hugo is really bad. Hugo in Street Fighter 4, you'd be like, yeah, here probably, if I played him. Next is Exard. I played Sin in Exard. Sin I really like. He has really big buttons, he has really big damage. The eating mechanic was fun. I mostly played vanilla Exard. Well, not vanilla, whatever the last patch of Exard before it became Revelator was. So like he had the ability to eat and then YRC still in that one. I think now he has to RC if you want to cancel the end of eating. So you spend more meter, so it's a bit less cheap. But he's still sort of like the, you know, big damage, press fire S, go pour, you know, shit ton of damage. But I really still just hate weight classes, you know? I don't want to learn the same, like, slightly different combo 4 times. You know? It's not fun to me. I don't mind learning, like, additional combos for one character in particular to optimize further. Like, in Marvel, I don't mind, like, Sentinel specific or, like, Schumer specific, because it's, like, it's a very niche subsection, you know? And it's generally just to optimize. You can generally get away with doing the original combo. But Guilty Gear having like, oh, well, you know, this is your B&B for light characters. It won't work on heavy characters, so you need a different B&B. It's like, I don't want to spend that much time in the lab, and I don't want to spend that time memorizing what characters weigh. It doesn't add anything to the game for me. But Sin, for the most part, doesn't care about that, which was nice. So Sin, probably here? Yeah, that feels right. So next was Project M. I played King DDD and Wario mostly in Project M, but I feel like at the end I played mostly DDD. I was sort of back and forth, but DDD is really fun. So basically what they added to DDD in Project M is they kept the ability to, like, when you air dodge into an item, you pick it up, and combine that with like the momentum from melee air dodges. So Project M is a mod for Brawl. I should probably mention that first. But King Dedede, he throws his little waddle dees, you know, the little the waddle around guys. I love them. They're very cute. He throws them, and then he can pick them up, but he can't hold on to them. When he picks them up, he immediately throws them, right? So this is important. If you air dodge into an item, you pick it up, but DDD has to then immediately throw the Waddle Dee. So he had like, I think we call it Waddle Gliding, where you would throw a Waddle Dee, like you curve it up so it goes in an arc and like lands directly in front of you, and then they wander around the stage a bit. And then you'd air dodge into it to pick it up and throw it, and you'd zoom across the stage like that. And you generally get plus frames from the Waddle Dee hitting them. He had really big buttons. He had 3 jumps, so you could go off stage and pester people there, because he's got the hammer and stuff like that as well. He had a really long active frame neutral air where he just like does the sumo splash. He had a command grab of sorts with Swallow where he inhales them like Kirby, but he can't steal abilities, obviously. He was just really fun, and sometimes you throw Waddle Zoos, who give you even more pressure because they shoot their electricity, and sometimes you throw Gordos, which kill people. And it was great. I really enjoyed him. I'm really bad at platform fighters, but I did really enjoy King Dedede. So I think here, actually. And also King Dedede, I just like King Dedede as a character. This is the rare, one of the few examples, I guess most of these actually are characters where I got to pick based on aesthetic and gameplay. Because they're all wrestlers or edgy. Jigglypuff. So actually Perth got into Melee after Project M, because Perth was really good at Project M, and we beat Melbourne a lot in it. And Melbourne was like, "Oh, you're just playing fake Melee." So Perth then started getting into Melee to beat Melbourne at that, and I think we really did. But we gave it a good run for it. Not me, I was bad at platform fighters, but the top players in Perth gave it a good run for their money. So I picked Jigglypuff because I thought from Wario and DDD like being big floaty jump around characters that I'd like Jigglypuff, and I did sort of, but like I think it was. I mean, it's difficult to say because Melee at the time had a really strict tier list. And I didn't want to pick a bad character because I'd spent my entire Marvel time playing this stupid Tron team, right? So I picked Jiggly because she was also top tier, right? And rest was fun. But if I could go back, I know I get the hindsight benefit now of saying, well, Donkey Kong's better than we thought he was at the time. At the time, we thought Donkey Kong was terrible. But I think I should have picked Donkey Kong. Because like, I wasn't going to be good in the first place, so I might as well have had fun, right? I messed around a bit with Samus as well. Samus was also just the wrong choice because she was worse than Jiggly and also less me than Jiggly. But I think Jiggly was probably the right choice for me as far as Melee goes. Everyone wanted to play Spaceys, and I just don't like that sort of, zoom around, high-tech skill stuff. That would get me down here, those sorts of characters. Jiggly, I think, probably goes here. I don't like Melee that much, to begin with, to be honest. I like Project M, but I might like it more if I played Donkey Kong. So next up we have Vampire Savior. I played Fish in Vampire Savior. I popped around a lot in that game as well. I played a lot of Dimitri at first, then I swapped the Fish, then I decided to try Lilith because I thought my tech skills were getting better. I could probably play a Succubus. And then I realized I couldn't. So if you don't know, in Vampire Savior you can't cancel Magic Series like Street Fighter Cross Tekken unless you're cancelling into what's called a Command Super, which is like Raging Demon, right? So Morrigan and Lilith both have the Raging Demon input of light punch, forward, light kick, heavy punch. So if you do heavy punch and then during the heavy punch you go light punch, forward, light kick, heavy punch, you cancel into the demon and hit them and get you big damage. And if you don't do that, then you do nothing. Your character is really mediocre without that big damage. And my tech skill wasn't that good, it turned out. So I went back to Fish in the end. So Fish has a cool dash where he goes really close to the ground and like swims in the ground, basically. And a lot of his buttons up that are plus on block. They are easy to push block, but if you read that they're going to push block, you can just dash back in again. But he's also a charge character. He gets like cool Seismo-ish projectiles that hit like a set point on screen. I don't know how to describe those other than Seismo because I started with Street Fighter 4. And he stuns with those, so you can get a combo if they hit. So he's got like a little bit of a zoning-ish game there. But what defines Fish is that if he gets a knockdown in the corner, he's got a super cool called Bubble, and the bubble's just unblockable. So you get a knockdown, you put the bubble on them, and you do a meaty, and they get hit by the bubble. And then you loop it. It's really fun. It's really obnoxious. Every time I play VSEB tournaments here, I feel really bad because I have to explain to the newer players, like, yeah, the bubble's an unblockable. And they're like, why is it unblockable? I don't know what to tell you, buddy. It just is. I didn't design the game. But I really like Fishman as well. So again, rare example of me getting to pick for aesthetic and gameplay. Real bully character. You get a knockdown, and it's like a grappler, except you can't jump it. Eat your shit, buddy. It's bubble time. So next is Street Fighter 5. God, we're fucking going slowly here. I played Birdie on release in Street Fighter 5 because I thought he'd be a good bully character. I think I probably should have played Mika, but I don't regret Birdie a lot. But I do regret playing vanilla Street Fighter 5. So that's why I say Mika, because at least she had the funny Irish whip stuff that was really silly. Whereas Birdie was just like, you know, footsies, you know, good anti-air, stuff like that. So I think probably like, yeah, but Birdie. He's got good buttons, he's got nice buffers, I don't know why he's fat now. Either way, I didn't play Street Fighter 5 for very long. So, you know, he didn't really make me want to play the game. Next we have Marvel's Capcom Infinite. I played Thor and Dante on release in that, but I'm not counting that because everyone played Dante on release in MVCI because he was absolutely busted. The list of nerfs Dante received in the first patch for Marvel Infinite is too long for a Discord message, and he's still the best character in the game. So that's why it doesn't count. Everyone, if you weren't playing Dante in the MVCI, you were wrong. It's one of the most busted characters I've seen in a modern fighting game. But then I ended up playing Thor Bucky, or Winter Soldier if you want to call him that. Thor is similar to how he is in Marvel 3 conceptually, but a bit different. He's more focused around... Well, he's still focused around Charge Mighty Strike. He's not... In the end, he's not that different. His command grab is probably worse in that it leads to less damage, and it doesn't have the ability to get rid of red life like normal throws do. He lost the beam, instead he's got like a... on the Mjolnir, just point blank. And he can also throw Mjolnir, which wall bounces, but really isn't very good. Yeah, I wanted to play him because he was definitely better than he was in 3. But like, it's like they traded out one aspect of Thor for another aspect. Because everyone complained in 3 that he couldn't throw Mjolnir, right? And so they were like, don't worry, we heard you. He can throw Mjolnir now. It's just now he doesn't have control of lightning. And it's like, well, you kind of need to do both to be Thor, right? You know, if he can't shoot lightning and he can't throw Mjolnir, you know, he's obviously not Thor at all. But if he's still only throwing Mjolnir or only shooting lightning, it's still not really complete. Not that that matters, because in the end he just didn't feel that good to play. But I'm also complaining about just how Thor he is, you know. So I think Thor is probably down here. I have not touched him again when I go back to Marvel Infinite. Play a lot of Ultron when I go back now. Bucky, on the other hand, Bucky is really cool. So Bucky has a stance where he puts his metal arm up, right? And that gives him full upper body invincibility, right? If you try to hit him where the arm is, you don't. He just eats it. It's not armor, it's not guard point, he just ignores it, basically. Well, it's got like a little guard point effect, but it doesn't make him go into guard point, is what I mean. And you can cancel into the stance, and then you can dash cancel the moves out of the stance. So he's got like, he has a pistol shot command normal. So you go pistol, go into stance, pistol shot from the stance, dash cancel, pistol normal, stance cancel, stance pistol, dash cancel. So he's got this really sick zoning confirms, right? He can throw a grenade, which is sick for setups. He's got just like a automatic rifle shot, just a good zoning tool. He's really fun. My only complaint is that the pistol shot stuff is really tech skill intensive, but it's like, it's something that feels rewarding for it to be tech skill intensive, right? Like, you can still play him without the best grasp with the gun loops, because you can tag cancel, you know? So you can just go like pistol shot, stance, pistol shot, automatic rifle, tag cancel for a combo. And that's often going to be better, even. But like, when you want to make a solo comeback with him, you do sort of need the pistol loops, but I don't mind. He just felt really sick. I have played a lot of Bucky when I do go back to Marvel Infinite as well. Venom is another character I play a lot when I come back to the game. I didn't play him in tournament back in the day though, so he's not in here. Same with Ultron. Nemesis as well. Infinite has a lot of fun characters. It's just a shame that it's, you know, Infinite. So Dragon Ball FighterZ came out a couple months after MVCI and really killed it. I was streaming MVCI pretty constantly. That was the game that sort of gave me a break on my stream, and then DBFZ escalated me massively because I befriended Tatsunoko. In DBFZ, not quite on release because Bardock wasn't in on release, but pretty soon after release, I picked up this team, Bardock, Kid Buu, Gotenks. I played Bardock, Kid Buu, Goku Black at first, and I also played Cell, Kid Buu, Goku Black before Bardock dropped. But this was the team I settled on, and I played at Evo and stuff like that. It was really fun. I like how Bardock just had really strong neutral, because you may notice these are 2 setup assists, right? I have no neutral assist. I'm relying entirely on my ability to play Bardock in neutral with Lariat, which was -1 on block for some reason, and his normals, which were good at the time. Obviously, there's been a shit ton of power creep for normals in DBFZ since then, but at the time, everyone complained about the Bardock auto combo riggers, jab, double axe handle, right? Everyone complained about that at the time. Now it seems innocuous. It's like, well, there's nothing, you know, who cares? But it was really fun at the time. So just it really encapsulates the bully, you know? You just swing it around the screen. I used to say on my stream all the time, Bardock doesn't have a good projectile because Bardock is the projectile. So Bardock goes up here. Bardock still pretty much plays the same now, just worse. So I haven't played it much when I go back to DBFZ, but you'll see the characters that we play later. Kid Buu was completely busted at the time, and I really enjoyed him, but I've come to realize that I mostly enjoyed the bustedness, you know? I don't really like how he plays now that everything he does doesn't just, you know... now that he doesn't just have silly 50-50s constantly. Now that I have to actually like open people up and play him, it's like, I don't think what I wanted was really there from him. So now he'd be like here. Back then he'd be up here, I think. I don't know how to rate that. All these balance patch games are tricky. Gotenks is going to be the trickiest one of those, because the Gotenks I played doesn't exist anymore. Gotenks is a completely different character. Gotenks used to have a shit ton of plus frames from EX Punch, Rush Punch, which he still does, and EX Beyblade, which he doesn't anymore. And he also had really disgusting Oki with the remote control ghosts. So that super's still in the game, but now he can barely do anything with it. They've really nerfed his ability to set it up, and I just don't really understand why. Like, it was fine in the last patch I played, where it was like, it was a serviceable tool, it was good to use, but it wasn't broken, you know? It was good. And I don't know why they then nerfed it further. So now what defines Gotenks in the game is like really silly damage from a glitch they introduced and decided to make canon. Okay. decided to make part of the game. We can get the last of his Blade to sort of whiffed. So that Gotenks I don't really like. But the Gotenks I did play in vanilla DBFZ, I think is up here. So just remember, this is original Gotenks, it doesn't exist anymore. And yes, he was busted, but I mean, like, even all the way through his nerfs, as long as he kept that identity intact, I liked him. So next is Mortal Kombat 11 Baraka. Mortal Kombat 11 was an interesting game where they gave you, well, eventually they gave you the ability to pick which special moves you wanted from a list of special move options. But at first they pre-designed the special moves you could pick. And so Baraka had a lot of cool options where he had the special move where he plants a Tarkatan banner in the ground and they give him a buff. Damage buff, and then you could pick moves where he'd pick up the banner and charge them with it, or you could pick up the banner and swing with it in one hit, and that was really cool. Or he had a special where he'd grab them and then stab them in the gut and break off his blade, and that was his launcher. And he had a lot of cool stuff, and Baraka Zerka was a move where he'd swing his arm blades as he walked forward, and all these were really cool. And you couldn't have all of them at the same time. You had to pick you essentially just had to pick the launcher move and then one other move. And because you couldn't pick, if you wanted to use the War Banner moves, you had to use all of them because they were designed to work together. But then that character didn't really function. And so, essentially, there is a really cool Baraka in there, but the Baraka you had to play in the rules the game gave you was essentially just a really slow-moving, high-damage character. He didn't really have a lot going for him. His overhead knockdown, so his mix-up wasn't great. He had a crushing blow on his throw. So in Mortal Kombat 11, if you met certain conditions, you got on certain moves on your character, you got what was called a crushing blow, where once per game you could activate it and do a shit ton of damage. So if they failed to tech one of your throws, on your next back throw you could crushing blow them and eat off their arm and do a shit ton of damage. But a lot of characters had that, so it wasn't particularly unique. And he didn't have a great hit confirmable mid, so there wasn't a lot stopping people from neutral ducking and down one-ing your grabs. So I think I probably should have played Shao Kahn. I did toss up between Shao Kahn and Frost in that game. Obviously in the end I should have played Shiva, but I stopped before Shiva came out. But I think my understanding of how to play Mortal Kombat wasn't great, so I ended up mostly crutching on Baraka's damage and not really understanding how to best use Shao Kahn's plus frames in 11. Yeah. None of them are particularly good, but I think Shao Kahn might have been a better fit. Then the DBFZ DLC dropped, and so I ended up playing what is now probably my most iconic character for my modern stream audience, is Jiren. I love Jiren. Jiren has so much bully power in that 2L, the big, meaty mid punch. that's really easily hit confirmable, leads to, well, it doesn't lead to really big damage anymore, now it leads to normal Jiren big damage. It used to lead to ridiculous damage, now it just leads to big damage. He's got, does anyone else have an EX frame 1 counter? I know other characters have counter supers and such, but I think his is the only EX counter. So because it's frame 1, you can't safe jump him. You have to do weird stuff where like he can't reversal a throw and he can't counter a key blast on that's meaty. So you gotta do unique Oki against him or risk eating 50-50. So there's clips of me doing like wake up command grab to catch people that are trying to bait the counter and lots of cool stuff like that. He's just really fun. He's got huge normals all around. He's got a ridiculous anti-air button in 2S where he just like does a massive key blast that just like hits like feels like the entire screen. It's fantastic. I think Jiren's probably up here. He's a lot of fun and really does a great job of, you know, feeling like a bully. Once you make your opponent start blocking, they start sweating, and not because of mix generally, though now he does have some good mix with super dash plus assist, but just because like they know if they guess wrong on your stagger, they will die. You know. Janemba is a tricky lad. But the tricks are mostly pretty straightforward, and DBOZ doesn't have particularly unique movement in general, so it's not like he's like a tricky zoopy ninja that I hate, but he's got a teleport and you can use that for shenanigans sometimes, you know? He's got pretty good buttons, he's got a fun sword, and he's got a unique key blast where he like shoots through a portal, so he's got a very interesting zoning game. But mainly what got me to enjoy him was his ability to, first of all, he does really big damage with half a bar, because he combos into a delayed projectile. He does like wall bounce, delayed projectile, they land on the projectile, and then you run up and keep comboing. And that's really fun. But mainly his 2-2-S is a projectile counter, where he absorbs it and then he gains guard point if he successfully absorbed until the end of the move. And there's a big fist just come out of a portal behind them. Primarily you can counter assist with that. So if you know your opponent's doing an assist, or if you see them, like you react to a slow assist, you just counter it, and now it's your turn. Or you might hit them and get a combo, you know? But even if they block the counter, it's your turn. So Janemba was really fun. And probably here. Man, I really like DBOZ, it turns out. I should keep playing that game. So Street Fighter V Seth. By the time Seth came out, people kept saying, oh, Street Fighter V's in a better place. So, you know, I reluctantly decided to try it. I skipped Cody, who I think I also would have enjoyed. But Seth I really did like. Seth actually got me to play Street Fighter V off stream in the final version of Street Fighter V. I got a big notebook of combos that I would write down for characters that were like difficult to find wiki resources on. And so it was like, well, I've got this set up. I don't want to have to go digging for where I found this setup or combo again. So I'll take notes. And Seth's one of the few characters in that notebook for the V-Trigger 2-star. Because I really just enjoyed it that much. I love the concept of like the move stealer that takes from other fighting game series, like the Heritage for the Future Dio Rush Punch, the Dimitri DP from Vampire Savior. It's just really cool. And I think it came together to make a really fun character. Obviously they ended up nerfing the Makoto axe kick, and so I got to play a bit less like an idiot, but I'd sort of already fallen in love with the character by that point. So yeah, you know, if a character got me to play Street Fighter V, must be sick, right? It's probably here. If Street Fighter V I enjoyed more, probably here. I'm still really hopeful for either Cody or Seth to make it into Street Fighter 6. I didn't play a lot of Cody, but I did really like the V-Trigger pipe for the command grab stuff. Probably won't get that in 6, but you know. Then around about here, I started just trying out a whole bunch of games at Wild. So I played Pokken for a bit. My good friend Wonder Chef is like, you know, one of the biggest advocates for Pokken on the planet. But it just didn't really have like a community in Perth, and the netcode was a struggle. So even though I enjoyed Garchomp, who was like, I mean, I love Garchomp as a Pokemon, first of all. I play Garchomp all the time when I do play VGC. But Garchomp had really strong mix, had a running stance, and then from that stance had a big like overhead swipe that was plus on block. And then you could go like command grab or strike. Pokken has like a triangle where like you don't tech throws, but attacks are all throw invincible. So it's like if they do a throw, you want to press buttons. But then everyone has like a focus attack as well that will beat buttons. And then, but the focus attack gets beaten by, I say focus attack because It's called charge attack, I think. So like it's like an attack with armor on it that you can dash cancel. Garchomp also has a counter that functions the same way. So it's got like a triangle where like throws beat the armor moves beat normal attacks, and normal attacks will beat throws. And Garchomp just like abused that system to the max, where it was like he has his up special is like a diving attack, and if that counters a throw, you do so much damage to them. And his command grab, if that counters a charge attack, you do so much damage to them. And he's just a real beast. Really fun character, but unfortunately it was just really difficult for me to play Pokken in Perth because the netcode wasn't great. I could have probably just hung around in the Discord more because it does have a strong community on the East Coast, still going to this day. It's a very fun game. I'd recommend watching it if you haven't. But yeah, it was just... didn't really have the time to get into it, unfortunately. But I did play a couple of online tournaments. Did have fun. So next up is Belial from Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I have a little Belial plush on my desk here. I'm a fan of the character. I'm less so a fan of the game. But he's just like a fun, interesting Shoto. I like that he has the ridiculous 2L. It sort of let me feel like a bully, even though the rest of his normals weren't like super standout. Just that one button being such a ridiculously big, like fast punish button made me feel cool. And he had pretty easy combos as well. They ended up nerfing his easy combos, so he had to do a bit harder combos, and I didn't like that as much. But by then I'd sort of fallen off the game anyway. Obviously he was busted when he had the easy combos, but like basically he has a fireball he can turn into a pinwheel on whiff. And the pinwheel will be plus on block, and you can like pinwheel towards you, pinwheel up, or pinwheel into the spot. But the EX fireball you can always turn into a pinwheel, so you would just do like normal EX pinwheel, EX fireball, pinwheel, and then link off that. But they made it so the pinwheel doesn't combo off the fireball. You have to do the pinwheel back, which doesn't give you as much frame advantage. And that's tricky and now annoying. So I played him a little bit still, but I probably would play a different character now, but I just don't think I'm that into the game. I haven't played Rising at all. All the new mechanics are strange and weird to me, having played just vanilla. And they removed all the vanilla mechanics that they added in the end. It was all a very strange situation in general. But yeah, I probably here, I think. Yeah. So Super Turbo Boxer. I should add, I am really, really bad at Super Turbo. It's really just a game I play for fun, but Boxer is just really fun. He's just a fun character to muck around with. You walk forward, you get the grab, and you and now that's a mix. You got a mix now, because in Super Turbo, the mash throws all air reset rather than knocking down. So you can like walk under them, or you can go for another throw once you got them scared. It's such a silly character, and he's got another move where you hold down the button and you release it, and you get a big thing. And that's not super important, but it's fun to have. And he's just got real good bully buttons. I've only played Boxer in Super Turbo, but I mean, if they brought him back in 6, I'd definitely give him a look, I think. So probably, like, yeah. Again, I'm really bad at Super Turbo and I barely play it, but when I do muck around in it, generally when it's at a major when I want like, oh, Super Turbo's there, because I know I'll lose in Super Turbo like that. So I can just sort of enter it, you know? I'll go in, I'll play someone who knows what they're doing, and you die super fucking quickly if you don't know what you're doing. So I just get to have a little bit of fun, you know? It's a good time. Then I got back into King of Fighters 14. So King of Fighters 14, if I remember right, came out around the same time as BlazBlue CP. So I just didn't have very much money to buy games at the time. And so because of that, I couldn't lab combos very well, and I just sort of fell off it. But then I came back into it because Perth had a strong King of Fighters community, and they kept playing it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not really feeling Dragon Ball at the moment, so let's give King of Fighters 14 a try. So I messed around with a bunch of characters. This is what I ended up settling on because it was like nice and reliable, sort of like learn King of Fighters team. Because primarily my goal was to get ready for 15, right? So Benimaru, Iori, Rock. Would I pick this team again? No. No, I would not. Even though they are all very good, and I think it is a solid choice of a team, I think now I understand what I want a bit better from a King of Fighters team. Because I didn't really learn how to play 13, because it was so focused on the tech skill stuff. That's the issue with Ash, right? Ash, when you're playing Ash, you don't learn how to play the game, because you're spending 2,000 hours learning Ash combos, right? It's like when I see new people pick up Marvel and they play Dante, and it's like, it's a good choice, but like, I know now you're going to spend all your time learning Dante combos, and you're not going to have any other combos for your other characters, and you're not going to know anything about the game, and you're just going to struggle a bit. But like, it's just a worry I have, you know, seeing new people pick up characters like that. What was I talking about? King of Fighters 14. So I ended up playing this team. Benimaru has like just a nice 2B, and just really easy combos off that, crouch light kick, in non-King of Fighters parlance, and that was nice, but yeah, I think probably like, yeah, I tried him again a lot in 15, I didn't really click with him there either in the end, but he is a fun, reliable character. But yeah, I don't regret picking him, but I probably shouldn't again. Iori is the main one I would consider picking again, because he works in any position, he's got a nice fireball, he's got, for 14, nice buttons, because you can spend a bar in 14 to max cancel any normal, even on block. So, like, Iori Far D, where he does, like, the big kick, normally that's like, it's an alright poke, but you don't get anything off it, but in 14, it's like you spend a bar, you plus on block, you get a big combo and hit. It's nice. And he's got a command grab. Command grab's lots of fun. I've also tried Iori a lot in 15. I probably would be playing Iori right now in 15 if I hadn't committed to my silly team, which we'll see a bit later. And Rock. I was just sort of exploring at the time. I ended up going back to him in 15. He ended up being really strong on release in 15, so I liked him there. Because he had a strike invincible command grab that led to big damage, but this one didn't. So I think probably, yeah. Then I played a bit of Samsho. Samsho I jumped around, I wasn't sure who to play. I ended up picking Tam Tam because he had, at this point I was sort of clicking with like, I want Blee buttons. And he had a big 5A and a big 5B, but that's sort of all he does, is the big 5A and 5B. So even though those buttons do suit me, he's really boring because you're not doing much else. Samsho is a very intense, like sweaty game because one mistake can lead to a shit ton of damage, you know? And so you've got good mix-up tools because basically everyone is a commander. You can't tech throws, and you get a combo off of throws. So like, it's very high risk constantly, but high reward constantly game. And so picking the character where it's like I press the one button and I just don't really do much else, I think was a mistake. Lately I've been playing a bit of Genjuro when I play Samsho, and I think he's the better choice, but I haven't played him in a tournament yet, so he doesn't meet my criteria. So I think probably here for Tam Tam. So them's Fighting Herds is a game I played a little bit as well. I played Arizona in that. She's the Applejack. I like her attitude, and I like that she has a King of Fighters hop. And she's got like jump cancelable stomps. So even though her normals are quite small, she has like a big threatening range, because she stops the ground and like hits low wide, and then you can hop cancel and stuff like that. She's also got a lasso command grab, which has like a dead zone. So she's not a grappler close up, but it's like if you read it, they're gonna push block you. You get sent over here, and now you lasso, and you send them over there, and now you get Oki again. It's a really tricky game to go back to though, because it's got like a Undeezy mechanic, like from Skullgirls, where it's like you got hit Thunder K, no, not hit Thunder K, but you got like a combo deterioration tool that carries across combos, right? So you want to go for like short reset strings, and it's difficult to come back to that sort of a game. But I did really like Arizona when I played it. Just the ability to like hop around and do big threatening tools, because like they want to push block you because you've got small normals, but it's a bit scary to push block because if they read that, then they can lasso, you know. So I liked her, but I unfortunately didn't stick that much with them Fighting Herds because it just didn't stick on that well. In Perth, the only person who was playing it was Pen Ninja, who's a big Lab Monster nerd, and so playing constantly against Pen Ninja and getting 50-50 constantly, it degrades your ability to want to play a game, you know? It's not the game's fault, but if one other person had played the game here, I think I probably would have stuck with it. There's been a few games like that in the past where I played and it's just been Pen Ninja and I've died. So then King of Fighters 15 came out. This was the team I was playing pretty quickly after launch. I started with Ash, and then eventually got rid of Ash, thank God, and picked in Geese. I didn't play Shermie at launch, but when in the first bounce patch they gave her a much better hit confirm, and from there I've never looked back. So Geese I really like, because Geese has really strong buttons, and he has a really threatening counter. Really solid fireball game. I'm just a big fan. They nerfed Point Geese a bit in the final patch. So I think if I were to play now, it would probably be more like, with a serious team, it would probably be more like this sort of a look. Rock out. No. Yeah, probably like that. But either way, at the time I was playing Point Geese because he could just do the palm really safely and build meter, and you can hit confirm it. Very threatening character. Absolutely a massive fan of Geese. If City of the Wolves had Geese in it, I would have been tempted to play it, but it doesn't, so I can safely boycott it and feel like I've got the moral high ground. Shermie is a really mobile grappler. So King of Fighters has like a 10 frame throw protection window from normal wake up and from leaving blocks on hit stun. So it's really difficult to actually play a grappler game. So most grapplers have like an invincible or armored grab if they want to make that character and force the grab game. Shermie doesn't. So Shermie has to actually scare you into not pressing to land a command grab, because you can always match out of a command grab setup unless you roll. A roll removes the throwing ball. But what she makes up for that is she has a disgusting cross-up game. She has really good run speed for a grappler. She has a really fast run grab, so she can threaten a command grab from distances where most characters can't. I mean, no one else can, really. It's just her. Some characters have like a slow, like, whoa, hop grab, but those are all like reactable tools, whereas Shermie's is like, you have to be preemptively looking for it, because she can super cross at you, know? And she has a disgusting EX anti-air grab that leads into a full combo for massive damage. So Shermie's almost like, Shermie wants you to jump the command grab. Because if you try to jump the command grab and she just waits for you to see you do it, she can grab you and kill you. And jumping is such an important part of King of Fighters Neutral that being able to get big damage off an anti-air is ridiculous. I have made so many comebacks with Shermie that she has 100% earned this spot up here. Even as I forget, like, my muscle memory of other characters in King of Fighters degrades a bit, like, Shermie sticks in there, and I still feel like I can threaten people with Shermie even now. It's not likely, but I can still make that comeback, basically. So Rock in 15, like I said, he had an invincible EX command grab on launch that led into a full combo, led into like half a combo, which was really good. They got rid of that though. So Rock, as he is now, he's just sort of a Shoto that like has a command grab, and he's got a weird install tool. So Rock, when I first picked him up, probably like here. But Rock as he is now, I think probably falls back to here, unfortunately. So then Multiversus came out. So Multiversus is a platform fighter that was focused on 2v2. So I really enjoyed that because I got to play with Hogovlok, who is much better than me at platform fighters. And so he got to carry me a little bit. I played Harley Quinn in that, which is another example of me picking characters for the aesthetic and making a mistake. Because Harley was 100% the wrong choice. I really like Harley Quinn comics, and I really like the Suicide Squad, the newest one. So I wanted to play Harley. She's got like cool setups where she like throws a remote detonation bomb. She can plant bombs on the screen, but her normals are small, and she's a really quick character. She wants to be zooping in and out, and I should have played Superman. Every time I think about that release, Multiversus period, I think I should have played Superman, and I would have done a lot better. Every time I played Superman, I was like, wow, this character feels sick. I should play this guy. And then I go back to Harley because, like, well, I want to play Harley because she's Harley. Don't do that! Just pick Superman. And the worst bit is now, since then, I've gotten really into Superman comics as well, and I really like Superman. So now I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I should have just done it. Thankfully, the devs just decided to, you know, burn Multiversus to the ground, so I don't have to stress. You know, the game's long dead and buried, but I should have played Superman. I should have played Superman. I almost want to put her here because of just how disparate the difference between Superman and her is, but I think that's not fair, so she's probably here. Next we have Guilty Gear Strive. I played Soul Bad Guy for a bit in that. Soul was actually pretty fun, with two main issues. First of all, not really his fault, but the Guilty Gear Strive matchmaking was the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Who decided to make a system where you just play 3 games? Not a best of 3 set. 3 games. And your set can just be interrupted in the middle of it by floor updated. Just, what the fuck were they thinking? And they've only just fixed that? How long has it been? 3 years? Anyway, the other issue I had was that I never really understood the clean hit DP hitbox. I never felt like I had a good understanding of where that hitbox was. And it was so much damage. I remember on launch, I didn't know that the clean hit existed, right? So I labbed this big long combo. And I thought, wow, that's a cool looking combo. Like, you RC and then you go into Vortex and you get like a big launch off that and you do cool shit there. And And then I saw someone be like, oh yeah, you just go normal, RC, clean hit DP. And that does like fucking 20,000 more damage than my combo did. And I was like, what the fuck? And I never had a good grasp on it. So I felt like my Soul Bad guy was always like a step behind, like 2 steps behind, you know, because of how much damage the difference really was there. So if clean hit DP was easier, I'd probably put him here, but it's not. So I think I put him here. I don't like text skill. I don't like weird text skill requirements either. So Melty Blood type Lumina Neko Arc. On release of Melty Blood, I played, what's his name? The sad vampire guy voiced by Seto Kaiba. Lol? That doesn't sound right, but I think that's right. And I didn't really click with him. I played one tournament and then I dropped the game. And then I came back when Neko Arc came out because she was a real character for once. And I had no intention of performing well in this game. I just like the ability to just get on the phone and like open my gacha, you know. Oh, I summoned Saber, eat shit, idiot. So even though Neko Arc is in no way, like, you look at her, she's tiny normals, she's weird gimmicks, like, this should no way be a Paris character, but because I had so already given up on the ability to win the game, I think Neko Arc being really silly gets her a spot here. One of the top local Melty Blood players described me as a bucket of ice water once, because it's like, you're not gatekeeping people, but people think they made it past the gate, and then they play your Neko Arc, and they feel like, oh, I've got a good grasp on this game, and then you're just a bucket of ice water waiting for them on the other side of the gate, just dumped on their head. So next we have DNF Duel Troubleshooter. I am actually undefeated in DNF Duel tournaments because I won the launch tournament, and then the game immediately died in Perth, and we never played it again. And that is the only tournament I've ever been in Perth Iron King Arena that didn't get the VOD uploaded. Stuart wasn't there that day, and you forgot to tell anyone to upload it, and so it never got uploaded. So there's no proof I've ever won shit in DNF, but I did with Troubleshooter. I like that he had big buttons. He has a big special where he just like goes pew 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 pew, and it's not like a gunshot projectile. It's just a big, massive like gun flare hitbox, and that felt sick. When he gets into Awakening, which is like when you're in low health in DNF Duel, you get like a comeback mode specific to your character. His comeback mode, in part, made all his explosions bigger, right? So the gun flare became fucking massive and you got a combo off it. He puts down a net for one of his specials. Like, he shoots and drops an explosive net of grenades on them, and then you can shoot that to detonate it. So he got combos off throw if you timed it correctly as well, which barely anyone in the game did. One universal mechanic in DNF Duel was you could convert red life, like recoverable life, into a cancel and a meter buff. And that was one of the most powerful tools in the game, but obviously it relies on your opponent having hit you. But Troubleshooter and Berserker could manually trigger it. Berserker just went into his like angry mode where he's like, oh, I'm pissed, and his life just starts draining. But Troubleshooter takes a swig of his like flask, and alcohol damages him enough apparently that like he gets a damage buff and gets some white life, 10% white life, I think. And so he just had conversion on demand. Like, you could get a knockdown and take a swig. And that was awesome. That was a really cool mechanic. Obviously, I dropped DNF Duel, sort of because, like, I think winning the release tournament made me feel like I had no more realms left to conquer. You know, it was like, well, I've never won a release tournament before. What do I do from here? But I think it was pretty fun. The game is awkward. The game's changed entirely since I last played it, but it was fun. Also, he was bisexual. That was pretty cool. And he looks kind of like Dante. So that was also pretty cool. So at this point, I finally picked up Moridoon in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 because Marvel was going to be at EVO, and I was going that year, and I was like, I want to play a real team. You know, I'm going to play a proper team finally. I'm going to learn Morrigan and Doom properly. And let's go with Doom first. Doom, I still play. Doom has really fun movement once you actually learn it. Back then I was like, foot dive, foot dive, foot dive. But now that I'm actually good at fighting games, I was like, oh wow, you can do all this shit where you like zoop across the screen, you can butter gun. He's got his jump heavy is a projectile, and it's got absurd amounts of hit stun. But like, you can't cancel it, so I was like, well, this is it's just a zoning tool. But then you watch Ray and stuff like that play, and you can see them land the butter gun and then just dash to the ground, dash forward, dash up, and get a combo off it. From like 2/3 of the screen away, you'll see Ray hit like Sentinel Assist, and then you're like, well, they're ages away. No way he gets a combo from that. But then he does. It's so cool. Doom just has so much that he can do. It's actually ridiculous. So I think Doom 100% goes up there, and I still love Doom. Morrigan, on the other hand, is really cool in concept and really hurts my hands. You'd think Morrigan's like defining trait across games would be the hover dash, right? That Ino has, that Ino took from her, where she goes up. for her dash. It's like, oh, you get cool instant overheads, but actually, generally, most of the time, the hover dash sucks, and you'd rather have a normal dash. And her actual defining trait is combos that hurt my hands. So Morrigan in Marvel 3, you almost definitely know she can fly cancel her fireballs. So you go fireball, fly, fireball, unfly, and she fills the screen with shit. She's got Astro Vision, which is her Dark Force in Vampire Savior. In Vampire Savior, the clone that Astro Vision creates doesn't exist if it's off screen. Not the case in Marvel 3, so you can be on the other side of the screen and she's creating fireballs everywhere. She's got this massive wall of projectiles, and for whatever reason she can build meter during it. She's absolutely busted, almost definitely the second best character in the game, but like, I just can't play her over a long period of time. My hands just really start to hurt. If you watch the most recent Perth Marvel tournament at Wild West, you can see like my fireball fly stuff starts to really degrade as the tournament goes on, and I end up just relying entirely on Virgil Doom, which is a fine way to play the team, but probably not. You probably should try to get stuff done with Morrigan. And also her damage is really bad. So the way you fix that is you TAC Infinite with Doom, but that's really hard for me to learn. So that's why lately, even though Tron stuff is a lot worse, I've also been messing around a bit with Hulk, which is all a lot worse than Morrigan. It's just, I don't think I could play her at a major right now, but she is really fun. I do enjoy her. And I think I need to keep playing her a bit, because otherwise no one in Perth will play her, and the new guys won't get used to playing against Morrigan. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, maybe... Is there anyone else I want to move up? Yeah, I think it's okay. So we went back, we had a Street Fighter 4 revival in Perth. I've been playing a lot of Seth and I've been playing a lot of Cody, but I've decided that I don't have the mentality to play Seth in tournament. I just get scared going for the high risk stuff with such a low life character. But Seth is really fun in casuals. So Cody is my tournament pick. Cody in Street Fighter 4 is very different from Street Fighter 5 Cody. He's got like a crouch light kick that you can't link off and you can only chain into itself. So you can't get any damage off the crouch light kick except crouch light kick immediate special cancel, right? But it's huge. It's absolutely enormous for like a 4-frame button. It's so big. But then his crouch medium kick is a slide that you can't special cancel, you can't link off, you can't do anything of that, right? So it's sort of like they give him a medium kick for a light kick, and then give him another medium kick, right? It's very interesting. He's got plus frames on like everything. It's so fun. You just walk up to them, you go crouch heavy, stand heavy punch, that's plus. You can single hit him from easily, link into crouch medium punch. Big damage, you know, and it's plus. He's got forward medium punch, which is a forward advancing plus on block mid. You might have recognized that from this guy over here. And you can link off it. Pick and fun, easy. And then on top of that, he's got the really unique mechanic where he can pick up the knife. The knife spawns in the middle of the stage at round start, and you can pick it up like in Final Fight to beat him up. And then that changes all his punch normals to be completely different. They're not like, oh, well, it's the same but a bit bigger. Like the frame data changes entirely. So he becomes like a very footsies-oriented character. He drops the knife if he gets hit at all, or if he does a focus attack, or if he takes a throw. So it's really easy to lose the knife, but it's really trivial to pick it up. You can even like special cancel into picking up the knife and then immediately cancel out of it. You get some cool combos if you land like a send heavy punch on top of the knife. So it's really cool. At first I learned him like not using the knife at all, but then I realized like actually, you know, this is really strong for a lot of matchups. He's just a really fun character. I really enjoy him. Oh, and he's got Zonk Knuckle. You hold down a punch button and then you can eventually release it. It has like upper body invul in the normal version, and he like slides forward and goes swings forward like that. But the EX one is the important one. The EX one is like a massive forward advancing reversal. And you can FADC it to get a combo into his Ultra. Really fun. Really fun. You just walk at them and then go, bingo! And just slide forward. And he's got an interesting projectile as well where he throws rocks. You can fake the rocks, so like pick them up and toss them in his hand and then just drop them. And they're sort of like a arcing projectile, so they go forward, or like depending on the strength you press, and they're plus on block. It's cool. He's a fun character. EX Rocks is ridiculously plus. It's very funny. And beats focus attack. And he has a massive focus attack as well. I should mention that. So then I came back to King of Fighters 15 and decided I wanted to play purely wrestlers. So we've got Clark, because he does the Frankensteiner, and Death Valley Driver, and cool shit like that. And Ramon, who's a character I wanted to play for ages, but could never pull the trigger on. Because he's like, well, you know, he doesn't really fit how I want to play. But he's really funny. He's got a lot of funny stuff he can do with a ridiculous cross-up, really fast run speed, wall dives. So like, even though it's sort of like the Neko arc thing, where it's like, he doesn't suit me at all, but because I'm committed to the gimmick hard enough, where it's like, Yes, he meets enough of my criteria because he's got good damage. He's got ridiculous plus frames because he can cancel everything in like a feint stance. It's just he's got small normals, and his big normals are really high risk because of the ability to feint on block or hit. So yeah, I think both of these guys go up here. Lastly, Street Fighter 6 came out. I played a bunch of characters in that. I think in tournament I played Marisa, I played Manon, I played Akuma, I played Juri, and I played Terry. All of those have been in just one tournament, apart from Manon and Marisa. I probably should have put Manon here as well, but I think they'll go in the same spot. So, probably here. I'll discuss both of them. Marisa I really like in concept. She looks really cool. I love her ability to bully with armor, but I dislike how the armor is dependent on where she gets hit rather than where the move hits, if that makes sense. So there's it's really hard to tell which matchups the armor will be really strong in because sometimes the opponent has a really good poke that just hits below it. A lot of those are really obvious, you know, the characters with the good crouch forward, crouch medium kick, or beat it, you know. But then there's things like Cammy dive kick. You feel like, oh, Cammy will be pretty straightforward because you'll just do the EX armor punch, which gets armor from frame 1, you can cancel it in the level 2, big damage. But if the kick hits you in the shin, the dive kick hits you in the shin, now your anti-air doesn't work anymore. Your armor loses because you got hit in the shin. It doesn't really make much sense to me, and it's a bit annoying, and I would hope they give her a more reliable anti-air, mostly just for that matchup. I think the crouch heavy punch is fine, and jump back light punch is good for most matchups, but Cammy in particular is just really frustrating. Then they nerfed the level 3 Oki, then they nerfed the command grab Oki. Now she feels like she doesn't really do anything except big damage, but I have hopes for them to save her. Manon I really like for being a grappler with a good walk speed and annoying buttons. So stand medium punch I really like a lot. Really easily hit confirmable on counter hit into a knockdown. Her command grab's obviously leveling up in damage is a fun mechanic. Though it's a bit annoying where you've got to decide on a drive rush hit. Do you want to level up the metal or you want to get a knockdown? Generally I think the knockdown was right. But then that's not fun, you know? But a lot of matchups you absolutely had to get the knockdown, right? You couldn't afford to reset to neutral against like Dhalsim or Akuma, you know? You needed to keep the pressure on them. And that left you feeling a bit weaker than you should be in round 3 sometimes. But I still like her a lot. I think either Manon or Terry I'd probably come back to if I play Street Fighter 6 after the patch notes drop tomorrow at the time of recording. Hopefully they'll add Cody, hopefully they'll add Seth, maybe they'll add G or Q, that could be someone I like as well. I want to play Street Fighter 6, but right now I just don't really feel it, I think. I do like Terry though, yeah, there's options. We'll see what happens tomorrow, and then I can come back and do another 1.5 hour video. Last character that I played recently is Mortal Kombat 1 Baraka. So Mortal Kombat 1 changed up Mortal Kombat again by making an assist game, getting rid of all the variation stuff that MKX and MK11 had. So I played Baraka Cyrax and Baraka Striker a lot. I also played Omni-Man Kung Lao, but Omni-Man I really liked because he had big bully buttons and big plus frames, but his max damage combos were really hard. And his easy combos were like sort of middling. So I ended up going back to Baraka. I actually never played Omni-Man in tournament. Even though I played a lot of Omni-Man on stream, I never played him in tournament, funnily enough. He's in my stream intro, but I never played him in tournament. Funny to think about that. Baraka has really big buttons, really good chip damage, and really good damage. He's just got the trifecta of everything I'd want in a fighting game character. He's got an okay projectile. You can flawless block, so like the just defend instant block sort of mechanic to delete chip if it's a true block string. So the ridiculous chip strings you'd see from launch, most of those weren't really real. People just sort of learned the flawless block timing. But you still get a lot of chip in situations before your opponent can recognize, right? And with the assists, his pressure just went for a while. He had decent mix-up. He had a really good low button, and he had an okay overhead that knocked down. With Cyrax, you could get a combo off his throw as well for really good damage. Not with Striker, but Striker grenades give you a bit better, particularly after the nerf to Cyrax. He gave him a bit better block string pressure, so I ended up going to that. Not sure who I'd play now. It's been a little bit since I played Mortal Kombat 1, assist-wise, but almost definitely still be Baraka, my boy. It's a bit of a shame that they never added a Shokan to MK1 apart from the Goro assist. Which also wasn't very good for Baraka. There were a couple characters it was good for, but it had just such slow recharge time, and it didn't really feel like Goro. Like, the strongest assist move was the up punch that he had from MKX, but it was like, when I think of Goro, I don't think of that move. I think of Punch Wall, you know? I think of the Fireball, I think of the Stomp. And those weren't the important moves, so... yeah. But Baraka felt great. Just really big bladed normals, and then you easily cancel them in the string, like the Baraka Zerka, he just like swings forward, and then that launches, and you get a big combo, and you get big corner carry. Actually, I forgot to mention about MK11 Baraka as well. Chop Chop was really fun in that game. Chop Chop's a move where he just drops onto his knees and goes like that, from the old mocap games, and you could mash to make him keep going. And Mortal Kombat didn't have like tight, true block stun, right? So if your opponent thought like, oh, it's gonna end here, sometimes they'd release block and just get chopped. It was really funny. Not very good, but it was really funny. Then in MK1 they changed Chop Chop into like a knee slide where he goes forward, and then if that connects, then he goes into like a walking slash string. And that was his armored reversal, so that was really cool as well. I thought Baraka in MK1 was like one of the best animated characters I've seen in Mortal Kombat as well. They often make characters look really weird, and I'm willing to forgive it because like it's inspired by the weird mocap stuff. But Baraka I did think looked good. He had like follow through on his swipes and stuff like that. There was like impact and oomph to it. I'm probably just wanting to give Mortal Kombat some credit for something like that, but I liked it. So yeah, I think this is pretty much how much I enjoyed everyone pretty accurately. You can sort of see the trend over time where I realized like I like big buttons, I like big damage. And you can see like I don't like small damage and I don't like pieces of shit that don't really function. Yeah, I think that suits me. Yeah. Nowadays, now that I'm not trying to win stuff, it's a bit easier to just pick the character I like. Having said that, I did pick Akuma at Street Fighter 6 in EVO last year, and I did miserably. And that's a good sign. Don't just pick the top tier, just because they're top tier. I did get sort of an unlucky bracket, but maybe if I played Manon, it wouldn't have gone so bad, you know? Maybe if I'd stuck to my guns. When I came back home and I was like, yeah, I did really badly in Street Fighter 6, and everyone was like, oh, that's a shame, and I was like, yeah, you know, like, I picked Akuma and I thought I'd do really well, and they're like, oh, you picked Akuma. What'd you do that for? You know? So, there you go. Big damage, big buttons. I like plus frames a lot. And yeah, I hope to see where I go from here, you know? Hope we can come back to this in 5 years and be like, what new characters can I add to this? Genjuro probably going to be on there next time. Maybe my Neutron team, maybe I'll pick up Hulk. You know, who knows what'll happen in Street Fighter 6 Season 3? Can't play Superman because Multiversus is dead. Maybe Injustice 3. Maybe Injustice 3 will come out and that'll be my time to final play Injustice and I can pick Supes. You know? It's interesting to think. Interesting to think about. Hope everyone had fun. Listen to me talk through my history as I learned about myself. I also mentioned a bit about like how I, was really bad when I started to improve, and then when I actually got good was Dragon Ball, I think, really. And yeah, hope that helps everyone. Well, I hope it mostly helps me, but maybe someone else got something from it, like how to learn about what you want from a fighting game character. It's a really difficult skill for new players to pick up. You sort of just got to pick aesthetically when you're new, right? But that might not be at all what you want, you know? And yeah, hope everyone had a good time. I might do more sort of listicle YouTube videos. Maybe next we'll do Paris' like top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time or something. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next stream or next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know if anything was interesting in this, anything wasn't interesting. Always happy to make more stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.